Now, from my perspective, Nolan's Odyssey is, to say it in one word and be polite, embarrassing. The film failed to build any emotional depth between its characters. Even at the very beginning, it felt ridiculous. Just the first 3 minutes, by the way. So instead, it repeatedly shatters the viewer's immersion with disastrous casting choices. Again, nothing against the actresses and actor themselves, they just are not fitting for that particular role. Then we have awkward dialogues, such as dad instead of father. Here, they did not care the slightest bit about the language and what it meant, because father is a word that was used to show respect, to honor your, well, father. Changing it to a more colloquial dad is not just making it modern, it changes the entire relationship between Telemachus and Odysseus, his father. Yet, when it comes to Penelope, it is just mother and not mom. So, why did they include dad in the first place? Which gets changed through the movie to father anyway. Then we have TikTok like editing, meaning many cuts that throws you out of any possible immersion, as well as downright absurd details. For this, let's have a look at that one. Well, that might as well be the dumbest design of the Trojan horse in cinematic history. And this is indeed Nolan's Trojan horse that appears exactly like this, as you can see in the movie. So, rather than constructing it the way we know it from early ancient depictions, Nolan, once again, feels the need to put his own modern stamp on it and redesign it entirely. The result is a horse so poorly conceived that it is almost impossible to fit people inside it. Yet, somehow, for the Trojan horse that is supposed to have people inside and can't fit people inside, that is not even the worst part of it, because during high tides, the lower section ends up submerged in the water, which means the man hiding inside would more or less be drowned. Not much help in a battle if they are dead. So, and this is supposedly the invention of Odysseus, the legendary master strategist. Don't worry, we will see more of his brilliant ideas later on. So, the design is so unbelievably foolish that it is difficult to find words to describe it. Well, I guess foolish is a good start. Next, we have the battle scenes. Those are conceived with a similar lack of intelligence. You see, there is no sign of tactics or strategy whatsoever. In Nolan's version, combat consists of a crowd of ancient Greeks, or at least Hollywood's idea of ancient Greeks. Now, here I must say that I'm not mad about non Greek actors playing Greeks. That's fine, of course. Yet, not having any Greeks in there is a whole nother story, and certainly not a good one. Thus, I'm kinda mad about the fact that it seems like everyone else, in terms of ethnicity or other kind of groupings, has been cast from all sorts of different diversity groups. And of course, there's a time and a place where that is a fantastic idea inclusion. But certainly not when you are adapting an epic like the ones of Homer, and still using the same names. And here I have to say, so much would have been solved if just the names would have been changed. Not the story, just the names. Anyway, those Greek warriors charging around the battlefield, screaming at the top of their lungs, as any proper warrior would do, as a nameless soldier die in complete confusion. The main character slowly trudged through the frame, apparently an effort to look important. So, even a lot of this could be forgiven. Sometimes just looking epic is enough, even if the logic is nowhere to be found. If the storytelling itself were compelling. Yet, unfortunately, that is where the film falters most severely. Well, that and a few other parts. As said in introduction, the TikTok like cutting, the dialogues, etc., are really bad. So it becomes rather obvious that Nolan never truly connected to the ancient source material, which becomes very evident if you look at the translation he used. He could have used so many different ones. There are a lot of really good ones out there. But he chose Emily Wilson's, which, in my opinion, is among the worst ones possible. Most likely, I will make another video talking about the issues with that translation, and why there is so much wrong with that. The fairy tale wonder and mythical enchantment of Odysseus' voyage are almost entirely absent. Instead, the legendary episodes are rushed through one after another, with little care and almost no appreciation for their unique character. Now, to be fair, Nolan's Odyssey still stands miles above Disney's disastrous attempts at adapting Greek mythology. Yet, can this be really any kind of a argument? Again, maybe I will make some content about this as well, the Disney adaptation of Greek mythology to this. Looking at this right now, it seems like there's a lot of work for me to do. Yet, in my opinion, what Nolan has delivered here does not even rise to the level of an average adaptation. It's far beyond. Well, underneath. Among all the major film versions of the Odyssey, this one is without a question the weakest by far. So, what I find particularly interesting is that the overwhelmingly positive reviews that seemed very obvious to be paid for, sorry, at least the early ones, focus a lot on how monumental and gigantic Nolan's production is supposed to be. Watching it in IMAX, they say, makes everything feel larger than life. Well, that is what happens when people celebrate the size of the screen rather than the quality of what is shown on said screen. Yet, what almost no reviewer actually explains, at least I have not come across it, is what Nolan's central idea is. What is he really trying to say? What is the film attempting to communicate? Again, as said in previous videos over and over again, mythologies as stories have meaning, they are symbolic, they teach, educate, explain. They have central messaging. So, what was Nolan's central idea here? Even in the most enthusiastic reviews, I have yet to see anyone seriously address that question. Again, that is at the time of writing the script. Instead, I read over and over again that all the hatred towards the movie be fake, and that people just complain because they only now become experts in Greek culture and mythology. or some other political nonsense. So, let's do exactly that, addressing the question about the central idea of this movie. Because to understand why Nolan's interpretation ultimately fails, and not just hating for the purpose of hating, we first have to really understand what he is trying to achieve.